What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. One of the toughest things about the laning phase is coming out on top when you get counterpicked. So, here are my tips and tricks to win a bad matchup. Let's get started. The most important thing to do beforehand is to understand the matchup, of course. Different champions are strong and weak at different times, and you need to know not just if something is a bad matchup, but why it's a bad matchup. You can use the mechanics of the matchup to find some counterplay, as well as to be aware of the ways your opponent has the edge on you in order to avoid their strengths. Now the first thing to do in the actual game is to find ways to gain small advantages. Just something small, landing a free skill or auto attack here and there. The reason for this is not to put yourself ahead in the lane, but it's to make sure that you don't fall too far behind and get pressured too hard. One of the best ways to get this small advantage is by getting in free poke, although it can be a little bit difficult. Try taking advantage of the cannon minions by damaging yours down quickly and then going in for a trade when your opponent goes to last hit their cannon minion. In addition, recognize the strengths of your opponent and respect them. All in all, it's more about not letting your opponent get free poke onto you. Make sure that you find ways to trade back, even if you're going to lose the trade in the end. And due to the nature of bad matchups, you're going to have to spend a lot of time playing passive. You can avoid trades altogether by positioning behind the creep wave, and wait for opportunities rather than forcing constant aggression like you would in a normal matchup. Be patient, and you can often just wait for your opponent to make a mistake in terms of things like positioning or skill shots, which is the type of mistake you yourself can avoid simply just by playing passive and not being the aggressor in lane. Another thing to do is to let your opponent push the lane. It's really easy to be safe playing passive when you're just sitting at your turret, and it's also going to make it very easy for your jungler or some other teammate to come in for a gank. CS under the tower by hitting the melee creeps once after they get hit by the turret, and by hitting the caster creeps twice, once before they get hit by the turret and usually once after. Letting them push in on you is going to give you a lot of space to work with, and it's a very defensive move. And so it will make for easy ganks, or at least relieve the kill pressure your opponent has onto you. Just be sure to ask your team nicely when you're asking for ganks. And don't be afraid to give up advantages when you have to. If you get chunked super hard, just back up and heal up. No point in taking a risk versus a bad matchup, because they can snowball on you really hard. And if you're waiting for future windows to get ahead, there won't be very many, especially if you give up kills early, whereas if you give up a little bit of CS, it's not that big of a deal. But as far as waiting for those ever important opportunities, what you want to do is wait for your power spikes. Power spikes come from multiple things, mainly levels as well as item purchases, and different champions spike at different points into the game. So if you can fight your opponent when you get your power spike, while avoiding a fight when your opponent gets one of theirs, that's going to be your best bet to get 1-on-1 or for the bot lane 2-on-2 kills. Just make sure that the fight itself isn't a bad one, and if your opponent doesn't want to fight you, you will at least be able to be the aggressor and take advantages in the lane. And honestly, the best thing for you to do in a bad matchup is to avoid it altogether. Roam a ton and try to end the laning phase as early as possible. Buy wards and ward the paths you take to roam to see if you're being followed, and just constantly look to help your team out rather than to make one-on-one plays. The key to ending the laning phase is to roam for an objective. A team-based group to secure an objective is often what transitions the game from the laning phase into the mid game. If you're having a ton of trouble one-on-one or for the bot lane 2-on-2 in lane, you can honestly just give up your tower and go roam. And although it might be bad, if your roams work, you can have a lot of success and actually come out ahead, and you would have likely lost the tower eventually in lane anyways due to the matchup. And those are just about all the tips I could come up with. My name is Jeremy, and that's it for my video on how to win in a bad matchup. Be sure to check me out over at twitch.tv/Jeremy_GamingCurios, stay connected at facebook.com/GamingCurios, tweet me at GamingCurios, drop a like, share this video, and make sure to subscribe for some more awesome content in the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.